Hey, what's going on? How you guys doing? Get up here, Mimi. So I wanted to jump on here. Hopefully I won't mess this live up, touching stuff. I wanted to jump on here and do another quick reading. Okay. Well, I say quick, but you know they always turn into be long ones. We're going to get back into The Rise of the Clones, The Cabbage Patch Babies by Guy Anderson. It's part of the Test on the Cabbage Patch Babies series. Yesterday I came on, we read chapter 12, right? We talked about Clonaid, and today we're going to get into Ancestry.com. Before I do, I just want to give a shout out to my eldest son, Alex. He did an amazing job last night over on Westside Coolest Live. He's been on a couple of lives here. He did an amazing job, and Westside had asked him to come back and do a part 2 of his experience and his teachings, and just to get a better understanding of what it's like to do a 40-day fast. Alex is unconventional. For those of you who know Alex, y'all know he is the real deal. There is no sugarcoating that. And I like to say, apple don't fall too far from a tree. What you see is what you get, baby. All right. So it's no putting on airs and no facade about Al. Al is 100% who he is, and he is legit. I'm so proud of my son. He's amazing. Our son, he's amazing. So if you guys missed the podcast, please go check it out. You gotta scroll down to my bottom of my feed. All right. Cause I'm gonna upload this in a couple places. It's on YouTube. I reshared it on my YouTube page. You need to fast forward to 1 hour and 21 minutes in, because he plays music, he plays video, and then we join, or Alex joins. So it's like an hour and 21 minute mark is where he comes on and he starts talking. So just so you guys know. All right. Without me any more chatter, let's get into this. All right. So we're going to deep dive into Mr. Guy Anderson, Rise of the Clones, The Cabbage Patch Babies. We're getting into the meat and bones, or actually we only got a few more chapters and we're done. We're on chapter 13. The book goes up to chapter 15, and that's it. And then it's got Children of the Industrial Revolution and some things like that. So we just got 2 more chapters left. Like as I said before yesterday, I'm expecting another book to come out. He signed it. He shipped it to me. So I'm waiting to get that, and we'll deep dive into that. So far, we've covered, this is book 2. We've done book 1, and we're waiting on book 3. All right, chapter 13, Ancestry.com. One of the largest online genealogy and DNA testing companies, Ancestry.com, was founded by John Sittner in Utah in 1985. Initially, they traded as Ancestry Publishing and published books and magazines, including Ancestry Magazine. Sittner sold the company in 1997. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something real quick. Ancestry.com is a great place to get started on your genealogy, but that's not the only site. All right. There's multiple sites. Excuse me. And like I said, I hired 3 people, three different intervals to do my genealogy. I'm still waiting on this guy to finish where I stopped, where Camilo, because I share Camilo's videos. The research guy, he's actually helped. See, I went to the people that I share videos on. I actually talk to these people. I actually reach out to them. We have conversations, right? So I got both of them involved in my genealogy, as well as what I could figure out. Camilo did a magnificent job on helping me get stuck on some of the stuff that I was looking at. I'm going to tell you, it is a journey and it's a process. It's not for everybody. Okay. That's why I'm telling you, I do a lot of stuff. Like I do a lot of crafting. I work. I like to crochet. I read. And I've had several people ask me to work on their genealogy, and I've volunteered for 2 people that I'm going to do. My husband's one of them. And then, my, Alex's dad, Mark, he's another one that I'm going to work on. I know 100% sure though. Mark Sutton is a Cherokee, or let me put it this way. That's the new age term of it. The actual term of it is Anahuia. All right. I know for 100% sure, based on conversations with Alex Sr., Alex's granddad, that and his family, I already know. I found them on the rolls that I have behind me over here. And let me see. The reason why I'm talking about this is because we're talking about Ancestry.com, right? So when you do your quote unquote indigenous genealogy, right, you just gotta start off with having conversations with your elders in your family. All right. Some families keep family Bibles. They keep documentation, news articles, clippings, and things like that you can put together with your research. Right. And as I've said many times before, Jamil Shamshi Dean, good friend of mine, shout out, big brother. He put together several books to help you lay in your genealogy that you're going to do and put it in place with what he's got as his genealogy. You put yours in place of that, and you've got the story of what happened to us. All right. So I know it's a lot of pieces, a lot of moving parts, but what I'm here to tell you is, one, if you don't have the money to hire someone like I did, then you can do your research, but you just know that it's going to take you more time. And on top of that, you may have to take a trip to whatever state your family is from. Like most people, well, let me say this. Some people don't reside in the same state where their family's from. Like I don't, right? Like I know for a fact my family was in Kentucky, was in Virginia, was here in Texas and in California, and in a couple of other states, right? Within the genealogy, I found that. So what I'm saying is you may have to take a trip to these other states and go to their courthouses and pull the documentation. So you just have to keep in mind that everybody thinks you can do it right away. It's a process. So you have to have patience. Okay. Now, when you look at the genealogy perspective, it's time for us to kind of set the record straight. Now, I purchased another book on genealogy from a Thoughtfulness woman. And she gives you references and sources of where you can go to look up your family's records. What you want to do is you want to, and I'm laying this in with Guy's book, and this is not Guy's words. I'm going to be clear about that. I'm taking it from another lady also that I follow over on social media. Her name is Mama Neen 71, and she's on TikTok. I purchased her book, okay, and I started using that too as well in conjunction with Dan Calloway stuff, okay? So I pull pieces from different resources to get a better understanding of what I needed to look at, right? Now, you're going to start with your public records maintained by the state, the local federal governments, and churches before moving into a tribal and Indian records. Okay. That's where you're going to start off with. Original Social Security number applications can be obtained, right, for a direct line of a deceased ancestor and utilized to obtain unknown parent names using form SSA 711. Very specific form. You want to go pull that up and go look at it. It was common to repeat family names in generation to generation. So be prepared to see names repeat again and again for both male and female ancestors. I cannot tell you how many James and Glenn, oh my God, and Lawrence on my family. I mean, they repeated names like at least 4 to 5 times. I got probably like 6 Roberts in my family on both sides. I'm just telling you. So you're going to see that generation to generation pass, right? And so you're going to be prepared to see those names being repeated for both male and female. All right. Keep in mind that it was also common by our ancestors to use maternal surnames, okay, or a combined maternal and parental name, surname back then, okay? Don't be surprised to see multiple race changes, okay, because I'm going to tell you, when it gets time for me to show my genealogy online to you guys, you're going to see it real time what I'm talking about. So it's when you're looking at the census records, you're going to notice, especially on Ancestry.com, all right? You're going to see I for Indian, M for mulatto, C for colored, N for Negro, and then B for black. And then I don't know, now they may have African American, but I didn't find that in my genealogy. I'm telling you, one time I had a white grandpa, same person. Then he was mulatto. Then one census he was black, and then he was back to white, and there was no more black. So I'm like, what the hell? So that tells me that he was passing. Or is the perception of the census taker. I'm just going to tell you. So this started between the 18th and 19th centuries. Like when you get to like when the fall of Tartary happened, some people will say it's in the 1700s. Some people will say 18. I'm going to tell you based on my research and the wall that I hit, it was in the 1700s. All right. Because I got back to the 1700s almost. I've gotten past it to the 1700s, almost to the end of the 1600s. Right. So you get to a certain time frame and it stops. It's because they've taken the records and they've quote unquote hypothetically destroyed, hypothetically lost, hypothetically they can't find. I'm just going to tell you, all right, they know who we are. All right. And there's a purpose of these churches being established in Utah, the Mormon church for one of them. And also you have a massive Indian repository up there. I'm just going to tell you, they set things up systematically to keep the original people from discovering the truth. But the truth is still out there. I'm just going to tell you. So the 18th and 19th centuries, you're also going to see referred to as a social status among some of our ancestors, not always defined indicator of skin color. I'm going to tell you this, and we're going to get into guy stuff. There are a plethora of genealogy websites, and I may just take a screenshot of this and post it in the comments under this video for Facebook, YouTube, or wherever else I upload it. But my thing is, you just got to understand that you're dealing with some people who came over here and they were given a certain task to complete, and they've completed their mission. They've done a great job at it. When you have a subservient group of people or a race of people that come here and we're told specifically, if you get off this boat and here, I'm going to give you this rifle and this gun and you go fight and kill these darkies, okay, you can have their land, their homes, their resources, and you can have a life for you and your family. And that's exactly what happened. And there's no shade, no hate. Now, I can simply say, I can show you, I can produce records of you online and show you, yes, my papa was quote unquote pale skinned, pale faced. All right. I know that sounds racist. It's not. He was a white man. Now, here's where the confusing part is going to come in. Back then, it wasn't about the skin color in the 1900 or in the 1700s. It wasn't about the skin color. It didn't become a thing until the 1900s. Okay. It was never about, oh, you're white, you're black, or this and that. Funny thing is, when you go back and you start to look at some of the older texts and books that are written, the quote unquote white race or pale race, like pale skin race, used to call themselves crackers. They used to call themselves hunkies. I'm not being derogatory. I'm just simply saying, if you read the damn books, you're going to see it. So my thing is, not only did this whole new race narrative come up with the races and the creating of this division, because they had to divide us in order to do what they've done. You got to understand that. Y'all got to get past this. Is about, yeah, I'm a copper colored person. No, I'm not black. No, I'm not African American. I am American Indian. I know that 100% sure. I know that. And yes, I have mixing in my family. Yes, I have Cabbage Patch in my family. This is why the difference in the variations of the blood types within our family, within my siblings and I. I'm just going to tell you. So back then, 1800s, they weren't looking at you as being a black or a white person. Either you were a sentient being. You were shades of wheat. You were different shades of wheat. That was it. There was no black, no white, no Negro, no Caucasian. It wasn't like that. It wasn't looked at it like that. You're dealing with the time of where they had advanced technology. These people knew who they were. They knew where they came from, and they still had the ancient knowledge. Okay. They're not like we are today. We want to walk around with our chests all stuck out thinking that we're something that we're really not. We're at the lowest level. There's probably, I know that there is a few dimensions lower than this one, but we're at our lowest level of understanding and existence. There's only a few of us that's going to grasp what I'm saying. I'm just trying to explain this to you. At a point in time, there are people that I know that have birth certificates that say they are white and they're my complexion, if not darker. All right. On the birth certificate, and someone say, oh, that's a typo. No, it's because during a certain a time or period, you had a status of white or black. White being a status of someone who looked like me by the definition. And then someone who, quote unquote, is now considered pale skin or white or Caucasian. On the birth certificates, they were labeled as black because it was a status. It was never about the skin color. Now, here recently, 1900s and now the 2000s, it's about the skin color. It was never that way. It was always about status. And I need for you guys to grasp that concept and understand that, right? So before I read, I'm gonna get back to this. I'm gonna share these genealogy websites. Okay. There is a bunch. And I mean, you need to make sure you utilize all records of specific land, military, which is what I did, census, Indian records, search engines, and all kinds of websites. There's the free Negro slaves owners, common Indian names, Dawes Rolls, surnames, Henderson Rolls. Oh my God, there's so freaking many. Then it talks about the Indian removal of the Southeast regions in 1889, December 24th. The nation, through its legislature, memorialized Congress, reciting that there were large numbers of Choctaws. Now people say Choctaw is Choctaw. See, they don't know the language. They're just taught a certain thing. But if you are an imposter or a pretendian, you won't understand that. You're going to believe what you were taught based on your family's understanding of the narrative. The majority of these people that are here now didn't come over to the 1920s, 1930s. Now, there are some, if you do your genealogy, you can go back to like the 1900s, the late 1800s, when you can see people coming off the boat, because I'm telling you, because I saw it with my own eyes and my own records. I'm just telling you. So, you know, as I was growing up, I remember having a conversation with my grandfather's brother and my grandfather. All right. They did not go by black. They were not black. They were pale. I mean, pale and red, light, white. Okay. They were white. And so my thing is my uncle, he would come over on Sundays, and I remember him, I climbed up in his lap and I sit on his lap and I hugged him and I kissed him on his jaw and he kissed me on my forehead. And he told me, baby girl, and this is the last time I'm saying it, we're gonna get into it. Baby girl, I want you to hear me when I say this to you. And I was like, okay. And he was like, you're a beautiful little girl. You have such beautiful face. You have beautiful eyes. You have beautiful hair, beautiful long hair. You just have to remember that someone who looks like me later on may not treat you the way I treat you. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean, uncle? And he was like, because not everybody who looks like me is going to like you. They're not going to treat you good. They're not going to treat you in a good way, in a positive way. There are some people who look like me that do not like people that based on the color of your skin. And at that point, I hugged him and I told him, I said, I love you. And I'm sorry, I'm getting tears in my eyes because it's just a touching point to me, because he was the realest motherfucker I know. I'm sorry. I'm cursing. But that was my uncle. And yeah, my papa's brother, white man, told me to my face when I was like 6 years old, baby, because you are dark skinned, you beautiful copper colored skin, there are going to be people that do not like that about you. It's not even about you as a person. It's just because of the way you look. And that came out of a white man's mouth. For those of you in the video who still believe you're crayon color white, it came out of his mouth. Okay. That's all I got to say on that. Truth come out. You can't hide from it. Now let's get into it. So that's just to show you. He was being 100 with me at a little girl's age, and I really comprehended. I understood what he meant and what he said at the time, but I just didn't get the brevity of the situation until later on when I crossed the picket line, when a pale-skinned white lady spit directly in my face and in my hair because I was black, and she called me a nigger. I'm gonna tell you. So, I mean, I done been through it. But we all have stories of that. I'm not saying that to get sympathy. I'm just simply telling you there are some corrupt, evil mofos in this dome or this existence, and they don't know that they're not even freaking what do you quote unquote a real mankind, a real human. Okay, let's just put it that they're hue of a man. They're not the real original people. And those type of people, you can mess them up by simply letting them know, based on your blood type, you could be a Negro and you don't even freaking know it. Because there's a lot of Negroes walking around here who are white. I'm not just going to say because they act ghetto and they're just niggified. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying it only takes one generation to erase the blackness. Okay. So if you're biracial and you have a child with so quote unquote a Caucasian person, there's the Negro out of you right there. It's gone in that one generation. So I'm not getting on here to create division and race baiting. I'm simply speaking truth and facts. They had to come out of a quote unquote white man's mouth to tell me when I was a baby. All right. My family already prepped me though, but he was my family. He prepped me. He said, hey, all white people ain't going to treat you right because of the color of your skin. They're not going to be like me, baby girl. I love you. You're my blood. You're my family, but they're not going to be like me. And so it is what it is. And so you got these idiots running around here now pretending that there's something they're not. That's my point. Let's get into it. All right. So then it says, he sold the company in 1997, right? That's when he started this company in okay, let me back up. He initially traded this company, Ancestry Publishing, and published books and magazines, including Ancestry Magazine. Sittner sold the company in 1997, okay? And it says, then in the late 1990s, they stated, they started digitizing historical records, okay? Census data and immigration records too. Okay. By the early 2000s, they expanded globally and acquired other genealogy databases such as Root Web and Fold3. And in 2009, they went public on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. Okay. In 2012, they launched Ancestry DNA. Okay. A genetic testing service allowing users to discover their ethnic origins and to connect with relatives. They also acquired and merged with other genealogy services, including Find a Grave and archives.com. Now, in this screenshot that I'm going to put up from Mama Neen, she has a list of websites, right? Now, I told you guys that. This gets involved. That's why I went to a genealogist. I actually thought about taking some classes and getting my certification to do it on the side when I, quote unquote, if I retire. That'll be one of my new gigs that I do. I think it's fascinating because I found a lot of pictures and just grave markers and just information on my family. And, for the sake of this video and me not getting off topic, I'm just going to say I have a grandfather. I want to say he's either fourth or fifth generation back. When he got married, he was 30. Okay, y'all listening? I don't know who. So, hey, whoever joined me, I can't see. He was 30 years old. Now, I got proof of this shit now because I got their birth certificates, their death certificates, and their marriage certificates in my family archive. He was 30. He got married to a 15-year-old, all right? And they had kids, which is my descendants. So, you're looking at a time frame back then of when, it was acceptable to get married at 12 and 13. Just going to tell you. I'm just going to tell you. Nowadays, we say he's a pedophile. Okay. But I'm just going to tell you back then, when you start to look at your records, you learn a lot of shit. Like I told you, my family had a whorehouse. They had a brothel, a well-known one, a very, very good one. And my great-great-great-great-grandmother 5 times back, she carried 2 pistols on her at all times. Beautiful, pale-skinned woman. She was a botanist, but she passed. One census records, they said she was a mulatto. The other one said she was colored. And then one other person said she was white. So she just went with it. I'm just going to tell you. So I find it fascinating. So when they did this, they launched Ancestry DNA. All right. That's something I've never done. I've never sent my DNA in, although I know the government has it. I know that for sure. I would never send my DNA in to get a match because I know that they are looking for key markers and key people. Like I told you, we reincarnate. All right. And the DNA that we have tells a story about our ancestors and what race of people and what beings and what family we come from. All right. So in other words, if they get your blood type and they run all these diagnostics on it and say, oh, okay, this mofo's back. He gonna be a problem. Let's do this, and this. He needs a handler. We need to monitor him. We need this, and this. We're gonna set him up to do this, and this, and we're gonna keep an eye on him so he won't cause no problems. I'm trying to tell you, I know how that sounds, but if you know, you know. They know who's here and who's not, who's been reincarnated and who's back. They're keeping tabs on that from beyond the ice wall, deep underground, and on the damn surface. Believe me when I tell you that shit. You can read my face. AI. Yeah, believe me when I tell you that shit. I already know what's up. So then he says they launched Ancestry DNA, in a genetic testing service allowing users to discover their ethnic origins and to connect with relatives. They also acquired and merged with another genealogy service called Find a Grave and archives.com. In 2020, they were purchased by Blackstone Group for $4.7 billion. Now, why the hell would Blackstone want to purchase that shit? They got all the records of the people. They know who the hell's who. I'm just telling you. They know who we are. So, black people, for all you video people that may watch this, stop fucking calling yourself black. I'm trying to keep it clean. I'm just going to tell you, you're not black. Do your damn genealogy, not DNA. Do your paperwork research to find out what tribe your ancestors came from. Stop calling yourself black. Stop calling yourself African American, because what they're doing is they are disassociating us from the land. It's always been about the genetics. It's always been about the land, baby. All right. If you ain't learned nothing that I told you over these however many months and years, whatever you've been listening off and on, it's about the genetics and it's about the land here in the Americas, you guys. All right. It's always been about that. So let's be smart. So Blackstone purchased it for $4.7 billion. Blackstone was founded in 1985 by Stephen Schwarzman. Those others, those who say they are, but are not. All right. The Khazars, the gangsters. And Peter G. Peterson, Peter Peterson. Wow. Can't come up with a more original name than that. As a private equity firm. And in 1994, they created BlackRock, led by Larry Fink, to focus on new asset management. BlackRock went public in 1999 and became the world's largest asset manager with over $10 trillion under its control. Y'all need to go do a research. I think there was a guy who did a video over on BlackRock years ago, maybe about 2 years ago. It was during COVID, I think. He did a hellified video. I'm going to see if I can find it, and I'm going to retag it and reshare it. I need y'all to watch that video. For all you those who love to research and read and learn new stuff. Blackstone is surrounded in controversy, being one of the largest corporate landlords in the world. And guess who is ahead of that? Now, they're giving you the quote-unquote Cabbage Patch human narrative, the Khazars, the gangsters. But there are non-human entities that are above that. And above that, there are 13 bloodline families, then the non-human entities. All right. So they are the largest landlords in the world, buying up hundreds of thousands of foreclosed homes around after the 2008 financial crash. They have been accused of raising rents aggressively, neglecting maintenance, and evicting a large number of tenants, especially in cities with a housing shortage. In 2009, the United Nations condemned Blackstone for worsening the global housing crisis. Now, y'all know about these smart cities. Anywhere there was a fire, pretty much is where a smart city is going to go up. I'm just hypothetically, let me put that out there for social media, because you know my stuff ain't monetized. It never will be, because I'm not about the fiat. All right, I'm just not. Hawaii, Pacific Palisades area, Palisades, California. I forgot the name where the wildfire is out there where my family's at. There's going to be smart cities that go up in there. I'm just going to tell you. Dubai is building a huge one. United Emirates or wherever they're building smart cities over in the middle of the desert. I'm just going to tell you. China, smart cities everywhere. So, you know, my thing is they're trying to push or herd people into these cities so they can monitor you even more, right? To take the chip, to take the mark, to take the implant. Hypothetically, it's coming to that. It's coming to that with these little iPhones and these cell phones and devices that they're tracking us and scanning our heart rate and our blood pressure and our temperature. Yeah, they have the technology to do all that. All right. So they went on record and they condemned them, but yet the United Nations is a part of the problem. So they're going to say this in this book, and I get where Guy's coming from, but you got to understand that the United Nations is the one world government. That's why they call it United Nations. All right. And if you read the Creature from Jekyll Island, do I have it bookmarked over here? I'm not getting off track, I promise you. It all ties in. Hold on. Wait a minute. Just want to say this. And I'm going to prove this point, and then we're going to get back to it. I have it marked. Work with me now. Hold on. Okay. All right. For those of you who don't know, Fabrice Masneau did an excellent video over the creature from Jekyll Island and the Federal Reserve. I will reshare that over here on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm not sure if I'll reshare it on the other platforms. I'm just going to tell you that. But the Federal Reserve, there were 6 men who attended the secret meeting on Jekyll Island where the Federal Reserve System was conceived, representing an estimated 1/4 of the total wealth of the entire world. 1/4 of the total wealth of the entire world. There were Nelson Aldrich, a Republican whip and senator chairman of the National Monetary Commission, father-in-law to John D. Rockefeller Jr., Henry P. Davidson Sr., partner of J.P. Morgan Company, A. Platt Andrew, Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, Frank A. Vanderlip, President of the National City Bank of New York, representing William Rockefeller, okay? 5, Benjamin Strong, head of J.P. Morgan Bankers Trust Company, later to become head of the system. And 6, Paul M. Warburg, a partner in Kuhn, Loeb and Company, representing the Rothschilds and the Warburgs in Europe. Here they go, their Cabbage Patch. Okay. Genetically spliced people. I know how y'all feel. I know how y'all say, oh, how do you know? How do you know? I'm just telling you, if you do your research, you'll figure it out. I'm laying this in because everything is interconnected. The UN says this about Blackstone and says they're a part of the problem, but the UN is part of the problem because the same names keep repeating in all these different organizations. Don't be fooled or deceived. Be ye not deceived. You got to use your discernment when you start reading this stuff. I'm just telling you. So they are a controversial company, as is quite a few others, especially Monsanto. All right. So it says their current CEO, Schwartzman, is a major political donor and influences both one bird, 2 wings. One bird, 2 wings. The Democratic and Republican administrations. They even took over the retailer Toys R Us, extracted massive fees, and then let it collapse, costing 30,000 jobs of people that worked at Toys R Us. My sister used to work there. She's a manager. One of my sisters. It doesn't stop there. In 2009, they were even accused of illegally clearing the Amazon rainforest. Illegally clearing the Amazon rainforest, you guys. Just telling you. Blackstone saw Ancestry.com as an opportunity to enter the booming biotech and genetic testing industry. They also have a very strong relationship with WEF, and Schwartzman is a regular attendee and a speaker at their events. The World Economic Forum, that's WEF or WEF, okay? The WEF's Great Reset, which I outlined in Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Kids, hugely benefits Blackstone as it aligns perfectly with their business model of consolidating wealth and controlling real estate and data and corporate infrastructure. Y'all think, quote unquote, people who think outside the box and who look and analyze at information and data, they always want to tag it or dub us as conspiracy theorists when that word was made up by the CIA. The alphabet soup people who are controlled by who? None other than who? I'm telling you, everything's interconnected. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. Everything is interconnected. So he regularly spoke at these conferences, right? Because he had his hand in everything. I'm telling you, these are the same individuals. The WEF's Great Reset, which he outlined in Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Kids, hugely benefits Blackstone as it aligns perfectly with the business model of consolidating wealth and controlling real estate, data, and corporate infrastructure. The board of the corrupt organizations have deep links with world government, central banks, and global institutions. Schwartzman was even an advisor to both Trump and Biden on economic policy. Now, I know I'm gonna make some people pissed off, and I know some people gonna say, "Well, wait a minute, you said this and this." I'm gonna say this: Trump is a Zionist supporter. Make it make sense. Trump is a Zionist supporter. I stand for the Republic, not the Republican Party anymore. I don't. I stand for the republic, this land, of what it used to be and what it still is. But people aren't waking up fast enough to understand that they're pulling a fast one on everybody. So you say you're a Republican or you say you're a Democrat. Do you not know that both systems are corrupt? I'm going to say it again. Both have been infiltrated by Zionists agenda, and both of them are corrupt, because nobody really gets the fact that these wealthy that are in control, look at the bank accounts from when they first come into office, when they run for the campaign, who supports them, and then when they get in office, how much money they acquire. I'm just going to tell you, they pass laws to benefit themselves. They don't even have the same health plan as you and I. They can pass laws or legislate policy to increase their wealth and to increase their paychecks. And there's no insider trading laws against what they have in front of them as far as data. Like if it were you and I and we worked at a company, we'd be under the jail. We would have so many charges brought against us of corrupt. Probably even they'll come up with some kind of treasonous bullshit to throw us, just like Edward Snowden. I'm just going to tell you, when you start to look at this stuff and you say it's them and it's us, when are y'all going to wake up and see that it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat, the system is fucked. It's messed up. Seriously. And for you guys to go around and say, oh, it's going to get better. Trump's going to save us. All these Epstein documents are going to come out and this, and this. I got videos that Trump even says he's a Zionist. I'm serious. I do. And I mean, I'm not going to say, hey, if you voted Democrat, you voted for the other person, that's fine. I'm just telling you, we need to get away from this bullshit. We don't need anyone to rule over us. That's my point. When you know, you know. When you start to really analyze everything around you and you see it for what it is, it's a bunch of bullshit, is what I'm telling you. It is. People are going to believe what they want to believe. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. You just have to read. You have to understand. You have to use your discernment. That's what I'm going to say. And I can hear somebody going, well, you see, our people died for us to vote. Did they really? Because if you really knew what I know, you would understand that all this shit is a big game. And the people who are pulling the strings are actually melanated. And we've got infiltrators. I'm telling you, it's much deeper than what anyone could ever even imagine. Guy is scratching the surface on this stuff, and he's really analyzing it and breaking it down for a common person to get this concept. But I'm really trying to tell you that it's so much deeper than you ever could imagine. I'm still stuck at the point. I'm not saying I'm stuck. I'm still tripping off the point that all these people that we were taught in history, all of them in these books from when I was at school at Carruthers Middle School, all the way up to Fairdale Elementary and Jeffersontown, J-Town High School, and then in California where I went to school. I'm telling you, all the things that I learned during the 70s and 80s was all bullshit. We have all these pictures of these so-called quote unquote light-skinned people. I don't believe in white. We have these pictures of these people, but they were melanated. They were whitewashed. Like if you go actually look at the books from that time frame, from the 14th, the 13th, the 12th century, the 15th, the 16th, the 17th, the 1800s, you'll start to see where they whitewashed everything, where they changed it. I mean, Abraham Lincoln wasn't a white man. The picture that we have of Lincoln right now, that's a fur trader. That's not Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was a tall, skinny, autochthonous, quote unquote, melanated, quote unquote, black man who was darker than me, and he was skinny. He was a string bean. He was like 170, 180 pounds, wet. And he was 6'5", 6'6". He was lanky and tall. He was a Negro. As is George Washington was a Negro. I'm just telling you. I know it makes some of y'all uncomfortable, but y'all really got to snap about your coma. And I'm not just saying this just to get somebody to get a rise out of somebody. It fascinates me because they pull the wool out of everybody's eyes. Everybody's eyes. Everybody's running around here crazy because they don't know who they are. And they've been lied to. And some people can't handle the truth. Like they will really nut up and have a meltdown and go into a schizophrenic depression. I'm just telling you, it's fascinating to me because it's like for them to pull all this shit off, it's like, wow. It's amazing. right, enough of me. All right, y'all know I always get off topic. I'm just saying, it's just fascinating to me. I'm actually a fucking fan, man. I can't even believe it. I'm saying it. I'm a fan of these fools because they got everybody just running around here believing in something that's not even true. It's funny to me. I'm sorry. It's funny to me. Because these people really, it would actually, if I was a light skinned person or AKA white person, I'd be hella pissed off. I would be mad. I would be mad because you've been used as a pawn. And then for the so-called quote unquote dark skinned or melanated people, I'm pissed off because we were used as pawns too. Because we have people who look like us, like you and I, look like us. If you're dark and you're watching this video, look like you and I, but they're not us. They're not for us. They're not cut for us, right? They were created to be an infiltrator and to get a hold of what we have today. I'm telling you. Socrates and what's the other guy? All those people that the Greeks that we read about in school, they were all melanated people. They were all Negroes. They were all melanated people. I'm telling you, this world was all melanated, and it just makes me so angry to know that this shit. And they pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. I mean, yeah, there were light skinned or white people at that time, but it wasn't on the scale that we have now today. It wasn't like that. It was few and far between. But it just amazes me how much when you go back in time and you start to really look at this stuff, you see how they flipped everything. And it's just like, how the hell did they pull this shit off? I'm telling you, they had skin in the game. They created clones. They created hybrids. They infiltrated people that look like you and I, and inserted people all around the world in key positions of power and in government. So now they got everything on lock now at this point. I'm telling you, everything has been infiltrated and corrupted. That's how strategic these mofos are. I'm telling you, it's fascinating. It just makes you think, wow, for them to do this shit, the length of just the time frame that we're talking from the 1700s till now. All right. And then you got to realize something. When you go into church and you look at your song book and your hymn, this is a point I'm going to prove. When you go into church and you look at your song book, your hymn book, start flipping through the pages and seeing when those hymns were written. 1700s, 1800s, 1881, 1892. And you got to wonder, why are we reading shit from the 1800s? Why nobody came out with something new? It's because everything happened during that time around the fall of Tartary, you guys. They're recycling the information. These people are not original in their shit. And I mean, if you figure it out, it's like putting puzzle pieces together. Once you spot the deception and you see it for what it is, you use your discernment and you go, okay, it's the same mofos. It's the same MO. They do the shit everywhere they go. Every continent they go, every time frame they've done this before. I told you, we're on the 7th reset. We're the 7th generation. There were 6 civilizations prior to us, and they were much more advanced than what you and I are now today, where we consider ourselves tech savvy. No, they were way further along than we are. If they took those mofos out, if they took our ancestors out back then, what do you think they're going to do to us? We're going to be just like a blink of an eye. We're going to be gone, transformed. And it won't be any history from us, really. It won't be any great contributions in this time frame. It'll be like a 1-page cliff note in a book. I'm telling you. It's fascinating to me. So when you see that Schwartzman, he played both sides, he donated to Trump and Biden, you're going to go, wait a minute, what the hell? I'm telling you, they're all interconnected. Trump is a Zionist and Joe Biden's, all of them are Zionists. They're all Zionist supporters, right? So it says, so how does this concern those, myself included, that they have sent our DNA in? Well, this information could easily be used for more nefarious purposes. That's why I told you guys, don't do your DNA. Because I told you at the beginning of this video is that they know when you're back, you're reincarnated. They know what bloodline or lineage you come from. If you are from a long list of warriors and truth tellers and fighters and hell raisers, they know you're back already. They know you. They're watching. They have this surveillance state on lock. I'm telling you. Why would you send in your DNA in order for them to use it for testing purposes and nefarious reasons? Because that's what they've been doing this whole time. But now it's just out in the open where people are now really paying attention to it, right? People are putting 2 and 2 together like God. So it says, first of all, it could lead to targeted drug marketing or even the denial of health and or life insurance based upon predisposed genetic risks. Law enforcement and intelligence agencies could subpoena Ancestry.com's database for investigations. Yeah, they could go track down your whole family. This has been happened when Gidmock helped the FBI solve the Golden State Killer case. I remember seeing that movie about that. There is also a risk of governments using the database for mass surveillance, racial profiling. They've been doing that. Or identifying political dissidents in authoritarian regimes. Oh, tongue twister. Combined with facial recognition, AI, and behavioral profiling, it could track individuals in an unprecedented way. Yeah, they've been doing that for a while now. With advancements in CRISPR, the clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats, which allows scientists to modify DNA with living organisms, the DNA data could be used to create genetic enhancements for the wealthy, increasing societal inequality. They've had a super soldier program for a very long time. And they've had people that were in the super soldier program who have come forward and spoke about it. And do you not know that 3 of those super soldiers have been killed? Allegedly. They're unalived. They're no longer with us. All right. They're no longer with us. Just going to tell you. And they spoke up about having implants and the things that they've seen in the places that they went. All right. Outside these walls, quote unquote, outside this reality tunnel, this plane of existence. Okay. They spoke up about it and now they're dead. So what does that tell you? Just saying, they're cleaning up. There are also concerns that once stolen, our DNA data is irreplaceable, and a breach could expose millions of people's health risks, ancestry secrets, and even biological relationships, thus revealing unknown siblings and hidden adoptions. This is why I uncovered something that I wish I had not, and will expand upon this shortly. Blackstone's acquisition of Ancestry.com was not just a business move, it was a power play with one of the most valuable databases on earth. Human DNA. Even if they claim to respect privacy, history shows that corporate interests will always prioritize profit. With DNA data, the risks extend far beyond advertising or marketing. They touch on surveillance, genetic discrimination, and even control over human evolution. I shared my fear of dispossession of this information with my group on Facebook, and many members felt there could be far more even sinister plans. For example, if it is quite possible to create viruses that target specific individuals or populations using technologies like CRISPR. Why do you think that fog has been sprayed? Well, allegedly, there's been a lot of fog here lately in the last couple of weeks, like in the last 4 to 5 weeks. Hell, 2 months. You've been seeing a lot of fog early in the morning. What do you think's in the fog? There's something going around right now. Y'all know that, right? And they're still pushing these inoculations, but there is something going around. I know several people have been sick in the last, 3 days? So I'm just going to tell you, there's something with the fog. There's something with this CRISPR technology. And what happens is this falls into the realm of biotechnology and bioweapon research. Okay. Yeah, I know some of y'all going, oh, Nisi, you stretching. No, guy's not stretching. I'm reading his words and I'm giving you my verbatim I'm giving you my conjecture here. My theory based on my own discernment, my understanding. All right. So a virus could potentially be engineered to recognize certain genetic markers or variations or mutations that are more common in specific ethnic groups or individuals with certain blood types. Yes. Viruses like HIV influenza could be engineered to bind to specific genetic markers. Yes. This is what we would typically refer to as genocide and could even be deployed against enemy populations. Yes. One of the most shocking revelations that individuals have discovered when sending in their DNA is that their biological parents are not who they thought they were. In some cases, people learned that they were conceived through sperm donation or infidelity, which their parents had kept hidden. And in this were my experience, which their parents kept hidden. And this is where my experience with Ancestry.com caused a few sleepless nights. Like many of us, I decided to try to build my family tree and start several years ago. I knew that my father's mother had married 3 times, and there were some areas that were considered no-go zones, but wasn't expecting to uncover anything sinister. I just felt the desire to create my family tree and had something I could hand down to my children and their children and so on. However, like many others, I found that once I went further back than my great-great-grandparents, I had nobody that could substantiate or collaborate anything that was system spewed out. My mother recognized some of the images I showed her of her grandparents and her great-grandparents. This was also the case on my father's side too. In fact, I actually had a photograph of my great-great-grandfather on his horse outside the old police station in Terravonton, Devon, where he was the police inspector. Oddly enough, I ended up opening an art gallery with my wife and in the very building that he used to stable his horse in. Anyway, I'd hit a wall and decided that if I was able to expand my genealogy any further, I would need to send in my DNA. I did this without thinking, and not for one moment did I consider the implications of doing this. I don't mean the fact that it could be used for something sinister, but I hadn't considered that and uncovered a secret that had been hiding away in a closet for over 70 years. Allegedly, anyway, it's a secret. My mother had been teased as a child by her siblings, both of whom are older than her. She was constantly told that she had been found at the bottom of their garden or left by gypsies, and she never gave it much thought, although had told me she was often mistaken for being Jewish when she traveled across overseas, more specifically, when she went to Jerusalem. However, when my results came in, I linked them to the family tree it suggested, then started to look back at the analysis. To my surprise, it said that I was 34% Jewish, and this frankly didn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay? So then he says, and I'm not going to make this too much longer because we're going to chop this up. This is a long chapter, right? We're going to read the bottom of this book and I'm going to jump off here. It says, bottom of this page. I then looked at the trees from these new members of Ancestry.com family and kept seeing the same name, Harry Hyman. Harry was an American military officer who served in multiple conflicts, including World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam. He was born on the 14th of January, 1917, in New York City, to Jules and Frances Hyman. During World War II and for several years following it, he was stationed in England. This is, if stated is true, could be if this was stated as true, could he have met my grandfather? I called my mother to tell her what I found, which was a very awkward conversation to have, but I wasn't sure if it was the true, and curiosity got the better of me. She said that it didn't surprise her, as she knew she wasn't planned and that she had grown up feeling like a Cinderella. She went on to say that her mother's mother had been promiscuous, and it was no surprise at all. However, the following day I spoke to my brother to inform him of my findings, and he already knew. My mother had called him to tell him what I had discovered and that she was absolutely devastated. He didn't believe the results were correct and was adamant that there had been some mistake. So I left it there and never raised the matter again. I did some more research on Harry and found images of him and a little history about his parents' journey from what is now Ukraine across to America, but kept this information to myself, okay? And he said, as I am still unsure what I found. So for me and my family, I wish I'd never sent my DNA off, and I know I'm not alone. Some things are better left alone, but discovering your grandfather possibly was the person you grew up with, who taught you to draw, showed you how to build a fire, as well as how to fly airplanes, is not concerning as to what others have been revealed. Some individuals have been shocked to find out that they are carriers of a rare or fatal genetic diseases, such as Huntington's disease or cystic fibrosis. Even they have been absolutely No symptoms. They have absolutely, they have no symptoms. These genetic findings have, in many cases, led to anxiety, medical conditions, and life-altering decisions based on you just sending your DNA in. All right. Many people expect clear insights into their ancestry only to be confronted with confusing or contradictory information. Okay. And I'm going to stop it right there. Okay. Because like I said, I don't know how long I've been on here and I've been talking about a lot of different stuff. I always try to stay on point, but you know me, I have so much that I want to talk about and so much I want to tell you guys and say. And it's just literally like you're in my house and we're just hanging out in my office and we're just talking. And, I like to share interesting information of something that could be beneficial or used to most people, right? To the average person that comes across this video. So I bookmarked it and flagged it with a highlighter. So when I come back, we're going to pick up on part 2 of Guy Anderson's chapter 13, Ancestry.com. And then also, this is Mama Lean's book, Indigenous Genealogy. I am going to take a screenshot just of one page. And if you guys are interested in starting off your genealogy journey, I'm going to take a picture of this page here and I'm going to link it in the comments section. Okay. And this is where you would want to go to do or to start your web search, like I said. And then there's also other genealogy websites like Free Negro Slave Owners, Common Indian Names, the Dawes Rolls, the Henderson Rolls, the surnames. You want to go there, right? Because there are a lot of archives, state archives and listings that you can go through. And then at some point, I know she had a video up a while ago and I'm going to see if I can find it, but there are videos out there from genealogists that can help you get started on your journey. I mean, it's like going to school and taking a class and learning something new, honestly. Here, I don't know if you've ever seen this, and this is the last part on Ancestry. This is a map, and I know you can't see it on camera right here. This is a map of all of the indigenous tribes, the Athotonus, the copper-colored melanated people in the U.S., right? And you got to remember, and I'm not saying this to be race baiting or to be hateful or anything like this. Everything I'm saying, I can back it up with laws, with books, with references and sources. These people that came over here off these boats, and you'll see that if you do your genealogy, you'll see when they came off these boats and when they came over here, when they started intermixing with us, the dark skinned or melanated people, right? Like I said, it's always been about the genetics. It's always been about the land. They set themselves up and they wrote policies to benefit the men. Okay. So for example, you're a quote unquote white man. You come over here in such and such time frame. You meet a beautiful melanated quote unquote Indian woman, long hair, copper colored, beautiful, and you decide to marry her. All right. Well, when you marry her, women at that time, we held the land, and as far as in the tribes, we held the land, and we had the not only the genealogy aspect of it, but more importantly, the land was passed to us. So if you married outside of the tribe, and with the laws that were coming in and the fighting with the Civil War with the Confederates, which were melanated people, they weren't white. I don't care how you feel. You got to do your research. Okay. When you start to see how they were fighting and breaking up the entire country, and all these tribes are going at it with these people with the quote unquote United States corporation, you'll see that they wrote themselves into laws. They wrote laws to benefit them. They passed laws to benefit them and to grab the land, to get the land, right? And in some instances, you'll find that there are a lot of women that mysteriously would get sick after being married, and then they would die. And of course, that man assumed their land and their position and all of their rights. I'm just telling you, when you really start to analyze this stuff and you look at it and you see what they did, it was very, very slick. I mean, I have to give them a round of applause because they did a great job in hoodwinking a lot of people. And then you've got people that were coming over here that were taught to be us. So they set up Indian training camps in schools, which they still have to this day, quote unquote, under the Catholic Church, right? But you got to look at who founded those schools, where the money came from. It's the same group of people. It's the same 13, 14 bloodline families. I'm telling you, they set all this shit up as the ones that did the educational center with Rockefeller. And then you've got the people that taught in these schools. I'm just going to tell you. So it's all interconnected and it's quite fascinating. But I'm going to share a page from her book, and then I'll be back again to discuss chapter 14 again, but we'll go a little bit further along in our, I hope you didn't use the bathroom on the floor, little boy. You want to go outside? Yeah, I think he does. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. I'm glad you joined me. Thank you so much for listening to me read and listen to my opinions and my theories, and everything that I talk about. I can support book, chapter, verse. I can give you references and sources. Okay. So I'm not just pulling this shit out of thin air. It actually is proof that what I'm talking about is actually, it transpired. So anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.